All right, today we're diving into the spiritual secrets of a pure mind to get at a question that I think is at the heart of, well, everything. It really sets the stage for all the ideas we're going to talk about.
And that big question is this: why are we never satisfied? I mean, really, think about it. It feels like this constant, nagging feeling in the background of our lives, right?
Now, the source material here doesn't treat this as some kind of personal flaw. Instead, it frames it as a universal human symptom. It calls it the endless thirst. So let's take a look at what that actually means.
We all know this game. For so many of us, it starts right here, the constant pursuit of more money.
Okay, so if the money doesn't quite quench that thirst, maybe what we need is recognition, right? The desire for more fame, more status.
And for others, it's about control, influence, that endless quest for more power. The source paints this picture of us being on a treadmill, where the finish line just keeps getting pushed further and further away.
But here's the thing. Even when people get all of it, the money, the fame, the power, that deep inner thirst, it's still there. And that's because, as the text argues, the problem was never about what's on the outside. It points to something it calls a fundamental internal fault.
So, if that feeling of dissatisfaction is the symptom, what's the actual diagnosis? Well, the text suggests it's a simple but absolutely profound case of mistaken identity.
And the main suspect in this case of mistaken identity is what the source calls the ego. But wait, it's not some kind of evil villain. It's just a false sense of self. I love this analogy. It's like an actor who gets so lost in their role that they completely forget they're just playing a character.
So how do we build this character, this ego? We do it through a process called identification. We basically point to temporary things and say, that's me. We do it with our bodies, I am strong. We do it with our stuff, my car proves I'm successful. With our jobs, I am a doctor. And maybe most sneakily with our own thoughts, I am smart.
And this is exactly why that chase for more is always going to fail. The source gives us this incredible metaphor. Trying to satisfy the ego is like trying to feed a shadow. You can throw all the food you want at it, but it's never going to be full because it's not really there in the first place.
Okay, so if we've got a case of mistaken identity on our hands, how in the world do we figure out who we really are? Well, the text offers a very practical method for this. It calls it the art of self-inquiry.
And what's so amazing here is just how simple it is. You don't need years of training or some complex ritual. The practice is super straightforward. Find a quiet spot, let your mind settle down, and then just start asking some very direct questions.
And these are the big ones. You just sit with them. Am I really this name that people call me? If I lost my job tomorrow, would I just disappear? Am I this body that's different every single day? Am I these thoughts that just pop in and out of my head? It's like you're an archaeologist, gently brushing away the layers of dust to see what's underneath.
And get this, here's a mind-blowing piece of evidence that's been hiding in plain sight in the way we talk every single day. You say my house, right? Because you know you're the one who owns the house. You are not the house itself. So, when you say my body or my mind, what does that imply? The source just leaves that hanging there for you to realize it for yourself.
Which brings us to a super important point. This is not about just believing something you're told. As the text makes crystal clear, you could read 1,000 books, listen to 100 teachers, but their words are just signposts. The answer has to be your own direct discovery. You have to see it for yourself.
So if we start to see that we aren't our jobs, our bodies, our thoughts, then what's left? What are we? This leads us into the discovery phase of this whole journey. Check out this brilliant analogy. When you were 4 years old, you looked in the mirror and thought, yep, that's me. Fast forward 50 years. The person looking back at you is physically, mentally, emotionally a completely different human being, and yet you look in the mirror and have the exact same thought. That's me.
And that leads to the million-dollar question. Literally, every cell in your body has changed. Your beliefs, your memories, your opinions, they've all been updated or replaced countless times. So what is that constant me that's been there through all of it? What's the one thing that hasn't changed?
And here's the answer the text proposes. You are not any of the things that change. You're not the body, not the thoughts, not the feelings. You are the silent, unchanging awareness that just witnesses all of that stuff come and go. I love this image.
You're not the painting. You're the background that the entire painting appears on.
Okay, wow, that's a pretty huge realization. But what do you do with it? How do you go back to paying bills and dealing with traffic? This brings us to the final, and maybe the most practical, part of our journey, the prescription.
What's so interesting here is that the goal isn't to kill the ego. In fact, the text says what it calls the polluted mind, our ego, with all its conditioning and beliefs, is actually necessary. It's the tool we need to function in the world. The secret is knowing you also have access to the pure mind, that quiet, open awareness that is your true self.
So it's almost like you get a user manual for your own mind. It's all about learning which tool to use for which job. For your career, for social stuff, for getting things done, use the ego. It's great at that. But for finding real peace, for understanding yourself, for making those huge life decisions, that's when you learn to tap into that pure awareness.
And that really is the ultimate takeaway. True freedom isn't this epic battle to destroy your ego. It's simply knowing that you are not it. That's the whole game. It's the difference between using a hammer and thinking you are the hammer.
And we'll end with this beautiful, profound idea from the text. The entire search, it's not about becoming someone new. It's not about achieving something you don't have. It's just about remembering what you've always been. The whole journey is just about clearing away the fog of mistaken identity, so you can see what was there the entire time. You are already what you seek. You just need to remember who you are.